I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the Welcome to the 3 on 3 podcast. That's right. You're tuned into the number one basketball podcast in the universe. I'm here tuned in with my brethren, my compadres, my amigo. I got Ev right here. You got Lou. And as always, Pod Mamba's in the background, making sure that we continue to be the greatest number one basketball show in the universe. We have a great show in store for you today. Listen, we haven't dabbled into it too much, but now we're going full blown NBA Cup episode, baby. We'll be discussing which 8 teams have made it, the matchups, what's going on, how they're looking, the excitement around the cup, all of that right now. So let's just jump right into it, guys. So the seating is locked in. It's over. Okay. If your team wasn't there, I'm sorry to say you didn't make it. So we're gonna start on the east side of things, but in totality, here are the teams, guys. You have the Magic, you have the Heat, you have Evans Knicks. I gotta put that out there, that aside out there. You have the Raptors, and also you have on the west side, OKC, you have the Lakers, you have the Spurs,
Hate
and you
having
have the
to
Suns.
Pod Mamba.
Okay. So Pod Mambas, I know clapping in the background. They're back. They won the first NBA Cup. So, I know he's happy about that. They're NBA Cup legends, I guess, now. But let's start on the east side of things, man. Let's start off with the first matchup. You have the Orlando Magic versus the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, man. They've been on a run lately. They got Bam back from injury. Tyler Hero made his appearance, and he's looking like a good form of Tyler Hero right now. The Magic are rolling right now without their star. You know, what do you guys think of this matchup? Miami versus Orlando. Are you excited, or is it kind of like we could kind of do without it kind of situation in this NBA Cup?
So I'll go first by saying, one, I think this is a great matchup. And first off, shout out to the month of November from an NBA Cup standpoint overall. I think that, from my opinion, this continues to be a successful product. Gave us some exciting games throughout the month of November, gave us some appointment TV on Friday nights in November, which we didn't have prior to these last couple of years. We were waiting on December to show up so we could start watching basketball. So I think it's added some juice from an overall product standpoint. I think Amazon's doing a good job from leaning into the NBA Cup, and I hope that they continue to bolster their visibility and their buy-in and their visibility and product of the NBA Cup as a whole. As it relates to this matchup, this is one of what I think is 4 good quarterfinal matchups from an NBA Cup standpoint. One, anytime you got a battle of Florida, I'm here for it, right? Orlando versus Miami,
Battle of
the battle.
Florida.
Florida Turnpike battle. I mean, I respect that.
That's a new one.
I'm just saying, right? And so anytime, I mean, you have 2 teams here. One, the Miami Heat, who to this point performing way above expectations, from going from wanting to having one of the stalest offenses last year to basically incorporating a new offensive philosophy this year, basically eliminating pick and rolls, a lot of movement, off ball movement. Tyler Hero's back, like you said, but even before that, them picking up Norm Powell in the offseason, making the trade that looks
Mhm.
better for them and worse for the Clippers by the day. Khalil Ware,
Get me
their draft
started.
pick last year, looking like the good parts of what Hassan Whiteside used to look like for the Heat without the bad parts. And then we have Bam rounding into form, right? Really embracing kind of that 4.5-ish role, being able to coexist with another big man on the court.
Four
We
and a
picked
half
on
ish. He's
Bam and
not a
Hey,
the
full.
man,
4.5-ish.
He's not a
what
full
4.5.
center, man.
4.5?
Uh, I mean,
Couldn't even get a full 4.
he's playing aside.
You
He's playing
4A or
aside a
4B?
full a center half of the time. So I mean that respectfully.
Okay,
I mean that respectfully. You know,
got
putting
it.
the
I thought
ball
you
on the
meant as
floor a
in
little more.
he's lacking some skills needed to be a full five or a center. That's where I
No,
thought
no,
you were
no.
going with
I
it.
mean it all respectfully. A
Okay,
Yo, I've
solid
been
all-star
telling y'all
caliber
for
year from Bam.
years.
You can tell
Yes, one.
he's been playing pickup with his partner.
I was
I
about to
say that.
say, you say embracing. He's been embracing Asia's moves. That's what he's been
I'm about to
doing.
say, man, you already seen Wendell and Angel done already said, hey, me and my lady is you and your lady. Let's love a basketball this real quick.
I heard about that.
Maybe we'll see Ben pick up some
They would
moves from that game.
they
Yeah,
would get
because he
stomped. Let me just say that. Wendell and Angel, I love y'all, but th- don't do that to yourselves.
no, yeah,
Don't do that
100%,
to yourselves.
100%.
So from the Heat side, very very fascinating. And then I'll just throw out from the Magic side, you called it 8-2 in their last 10. Desmond Bain, particularly since starting the season, looking terrible. In that what was it, blockbuster trade, looking like it was going poorly. Uh,
Lord,
he's starting to establish himself more. I think that game winner he had 2 weeks ago, he's been on a tear since then. Doing all this without Paolo. So I'm interested in y'all's thoughts on from
let
the
me
standpoint of the Magic looking as well as they have these past 7 or 8 games with Paolo
let me
being out.
Yeah,
let me tell you this. I think let me. I'm trying to look up the stats, but they're not here. But okay, here's my theory behind it. When Paolo went out, right? Their guard was coming back from injury. Is it Suggs?
Talk about Jalen
I'll
Suggs, yeah.
take Jalen Suggs,
Suggs.
hmm
and then
He's
Anthony
an
Black coming in.
injection of points, toughness, and defense to the Magic. And we talked about how the Magic lack offense, right? They were anemic in that regard, and it was super pointed out during the playoffs. Like you need to put the ball in the hole. So I think part of that, what we're seeing is Suggs. Like he's out here, he's not injured, he's putting points up, he's helping on defense as well too, bringing some toughness there. And I credit the team to doing well or better on the roll. Magic it Suggs, man. He makes a difference to me. There's a clear difference when he's on the court versus when he's not on the court. I don't know if you guys are see it, but I'm like, yo, he might be it.
No, I agree with that, and and like you bringing Bane into it because that's exactly the angle I was going in terms of with Orlando is paying dividends now, right? I think they're finally hitting their stride. They're figuring out how this is going to work, or how all the team gels together. And also, I want to see your point in terms of having Suggs back is major, right? As their the guy that's supposed to be their true point guard for the team to be able to come back and bring the defense that they needed, the injection of offense they needed. It's allowing Wagner to not have to be the primary person that you depend on in terms of the score. You have Bain, you have Suggs, and then obviously when Paolo's on the court, Wagner's able to be the best version of himself. So he's been able also to be able to step up as their third option or sometimes their second option to be able to make Orlando be a formidable team. I mean, this is what we expected from a healthy Orlando team when we saw flashes of them, not just last season, but the season before as well. And yeah, and we've seen and if Paolo can stay on the court, we've seen Paolo develop into exactly the player that we expect him to be. So, yeah, now all of those pieces are they have all the pieces to be a team that can be able to make a long run into the playoffs. It's so long that everybody's healthy because they do have a complete team on their side.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Suggs injured towards the end of last year?
Yep.
He was injured almost all of last year.
Right. He didn't
Mhm.
play much, right? Like
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
he played early in the year, and then he was touch and go from even prior to the All-Star break.
Okay.
I'm-
Yeah. Go ahead, Ev. I'm sorry.
no, I was gonna say I agree with you. I'm gonna add a caveat to this, and important caveat: this team will be at its best with Paolo Banchero. Don't take what I'm about to say the wrong way. In order for them to hit
There's no question about
in order for them to hit their peak, they need a healthy Paolo. But I will say, guards play better when they get the ball. And when you take away a primary eater, so to speak, in Paolo, and now you just have Franz on the wing, and then your other guards can perform. We see Jalen Suggs playing better the last 10 games. We see Desmond Bain playing better the last 10 games. We see their draft pick from a couple years ago, Anthony Black, playing better the last couple games, putting up 16 a game when he was putting 10 a game prior. Career high 31-point performance, I think, against the Warriors. We see these other guards that they've drafted, that they've picked up, filling their roles better because the ball's being distributed more. That's on the coach. The coach is the one that's going to have to figure out how to make this mix work, right? How to mix this gumbo up just right, so that everybody gets enough distribution so that they can get into the flow of the game. And it's not just Paolo, Franz handling the ball, initiating everything, and everybody else getting stale.
Better offense. So in addition to freeing up the isolation heavy offense that they weren't
I think
effective
that
with, you think? Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's what Suggs brings when he's back healthy, right? He's able to then be the guy that is going where you're flowing your offense through. He's the one that's going to start your offense. He's going to be a point guard that's going to be able to distribute it and be able to make the flow happen as it should. So if it doesn't work with Suggs and Ben Carroll on the floor, then I think then we start talking about like, all right, cool, what's the issue? But I do think that in terms of him being on the court, it should help be able to that stagnation in terms of like, okay, is it we're just doing this ISO Bowman curl on here? But should be able to make that flow happen with Suggs on the floor.
Yeah, but I also agree in what Ev was saying. The coaching, there needs to be some kind of schemes, some type of player movement, motion, offense, some type of playbook, essentially, right? That helps facilitate this brand of basketball. So it can't just be primarily on the point guard's volition, right? So there needs to be some schematics there as well too. So it can be ingrained and be a part of the culture of the team. So it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. So for those who don't know or who are still new to the NBA Cup, right? This current round is single game elimination. It starts December the 9th. So let me hear you guys' predictions before we move on to the next side of the East. Who do you think wins this? Magic or the Heat? Who you got? I'll start with you, Lou. Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Magic on this one. I think they're a young team that is starting to really figure out and they're hitting their stride. We've been hearing this Tyler Hero story for years now. I'm not a believer.
Okay.
I'm not a believer. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. It's great that he's been able to come back and show up, but I think that even just from just a purely defensive perspective, I think that their matchup against the Heat, they're going to be able to beat them on the defensive end, which is going to translate over to their offensive. So,
okay,
Magic.
What about you, Ev?
I'm going to be a hater and an analyst here. I'm picking the Magic because I don't want any good things to happen to the Heat. But also picking the Magic. But also picking the Magic. I meant what I said. Also picking the Magic though, because I think this last win against Detroit, top team in the East right now, great game by the way, gives them just that added confidence of, hey, we're headed in the right direction now, right? We've course corrected our season. So based on their trajectory and where I expected them to be coming into the season versus where I expected the Heat to be, I think the Magic can pull that game out.
Okay. I'm going the other way, y'all. I'm going to Heat. You know how football saying any given Sunday, any given night, it's one game. Okay. It's not a series. It's, one game. I think.
Okay, Miami Vice.
I'm saying the Heat have the star power. The Heat have the better coach. One game. I'm giving this to Miami. I know Lou doesn't believe in Tyler Hero, but if he hits that spark, because he has those games where he can be explosive. If he gets explosive, if Norman Powell gives you your standard 20, if Bam figures out his drop step, that one drop step that he can't get, or Asia gave it to him. I, I'm going Heat on this one, fellas. I'm going Heat.
Yo, that's hilarious. Yeah.
I'm going Heat.
Hey
So
man,
another
defense wins
part,
game.
another part that I think adds value to this NBA Cup, right, is that it gives you added validity onto what you're doing carrying into the season, right? You have a Heat team that wasn't expected to be as good based off of last year. If they were to pull this out, right, or pull this win out, go deep into the cup, it gives you just that added confidence, which I mean, they got a great coach, they don't need, but right, it gives you that added confidence in a pressure-based environment that what we're doing this season is working and can pay dividends as the season progresses. So I like it.
100%. Yeah, man. This is
Yeah,
what the NBA Cup is about. This
facts.
is it. I'm excited. Can't wait. All right, guys. Let's move
The
on to the
Gary.
the Gary. Let's move on to the other side, the other matchup. You got the Toronto Raptors, currently number 2 in the East, versus Evans. You heard it. Evans, New York Knicks, who are currently number 3 in the East. So this is a competitive matchup right here, 2 and 3, battling and jockeying for position here. I was pleasantly surprised at the Knicks doing what they had to do against Milwaukee to get to where they need to be in this NBA Cup. I'm also pleasantly surprised, which since our last episode have watched a couple Raptors games because I needed to put my eyeballs on it and see what Ev was telling me and, see out here, see the glow up. And listen, man,
Hey,
this Brandon Ingram, I like this version of Brandon Ingram. Yo, I like this version of Brandon Ingram, man. So let's first start off with initial thoughts on Toronto being here. Let's start there. Initial thoughts with Toronto being here. Is this their Cinderella moment in the season where they kind of put the league on official notice? And this is a prime opportunity. What are you guys thinking from the Toronto angle? I'll start with you, Ev.
from the Toronto angle, looking at a big picture perspective, this is another opportunity to validate what the NBA Cup is and it's about. When you have a team like Toronto that
Small
comes into
market.
the season, right? A small market team, nobody's expecting to even be in the playoff picture, right?
Right.
They're calling the little success that they had at the end of last year fool's gold, to steal your term, and they come in and they've come and they've looked great. They're riding hot. They've got a great coach. They've put a roster together that thus far is fitting. They took a gamble on a player like Brandon Ingram, who is playing up to his potential right now, playing that the way
Yes.
we expected him to look like in New Orleans. They made a trade, a handful of trades. They got both OG to us, who's injured, and Pascal Siakam out, but you have RJ Barrett playing better. You've got Quickly playing strong. You've got Scotty Barnes playing like the number 5 pick that he was. This, in a nutshell, can serve as a validating exercise for your entire organization that you are moving in the right direction, right? And so for so many teams, the way it used to be, you had to wait until the end of the season, right, to make it to the playoffs to gain any validation of
Yeah.
the efforts you've been making. If you're the Toronto Raptors, you were the first team to clinch an NBA Cup position, right? NBA Cup knockout round spot. You're riding with an 8-9 game winning streak now,
Yeah.
and
They're
you get to
9-1
carry
right
that
now.
into December, right? You get to carry that into December, like, hey, the first quarter of the season, we were that team.
Mm-hmm.
That's enough weight to carry you through the harder parts of the season as they come. And you've put enough equity at the beginning of the season to pad you some space to make some mistakes. So if I'm Toronto, especially a team that really hasn't had success since they won the championship in 19, I'm all the way in on this, right? And we talk pop culture here as well. If you Toronto, the way you got beat up the last year, you need a win. So come on, Raptors, do it for the 6.
All the way up through all the way up through the World Series, right?
That's fair.
Oh,
That's fair.
yes.
That's fair.
All the through the World Series. But like you know what I mean, in terms of what you're saying, is just trying to this injection of a new era of Toronto, even getting rid of you know the head of their management in terms of like you know, I mean, they're getting rid of their GM, right, and so on and so forth, and now moving forward, and so what this team is looking like. Yeah, the biggest thing I think that like the breath of fresh air for Toronto is what you mentioned before, man. Bi coming having a new start. He's not in New Orleans. Don't have to worry about being in the shadow of what it was in LA, in the shadow of what it was, and now having Zion in terms of down there in New Orleans, and being able to come to a team where again the expectations are low, but you guys are able to then seize the moment and really to be able to surpass that. I think is high marks for them right now, and as always, every time we have this conversation about the NBA Cup, is what is the win that you can get for you as an organization? If you know that the likelihood of you winning the actual chip is in there, you know what I mean? You try to build yourself up in the confidence, you know what I mean, with the Gary. So to be able to have them in the mix of it right now is really good for them and in building back towards their previous success of when they had their last championship.
And from a team building standpoint, I'll say one other thing. For Brandon Ingram, I think what we've seen so far is okay, he's the leader offensively on this team, right? He's the closer of this team. But the team is built well enough that he can be the closer without having to average 30 a game. I'm gonna make a comparison, and I'm not comparing them to this team. I'm just
I
using
see
it
where you're going. Go ahead.
stylistically.
You
Think
already
about
know
the
if you're
04,
misspeaking right now,
05
you about to say
Detroit Pistons, right?
Mhm.
Where you had like Richard Hamilton and Chauncey Billups, where we knew, okay, in crunch time, we need them to get core buckets, but the team wasn't constituted where they needed to put up 25, 30 a game for them to be successful. I think for where Brandon Ingram is as an offensive player, that was always going to be the best situation for him. And so now it seems like he is in that best situation where he can flourish without having to, okay, I got to put the entire offensive identity on my back. But we about to shut that down next week, but keep going.
Oh, here we go. I
well,
knew.
here's the thing. I battle with that because in New Orleans he wasn't supposed to do that, right? This is why you would put CJ McCollum and Zion around him, because again, you tried to set up that situation for him. Now in terms of the availability of Zion for whatever reason on and or off the court, we don't have to get into why CJ McCollum doesn't necessarily matriculate into the player that you expected for that based on his performance in Portland. I don't know. I don't
But
know why didn't.
Ingram also had availability issues in New Orleans as well too. Let's not forget that. So
That's true.
he was marred with injury every season.
Yeah, true.
So much so the last I think season there he didn't play, but like maybe a couple, and then he had like an injury that had
He
him
was
out.
hurt
So
basically the whole year before he got traded.
yeah, that's what I was saying. So I think he was marred with injury towards the end of his tenure there in New Orleans. So to see him be here and doing that, and I think Ev really hit the nail on the head. And I know we got to move on to his Knicks, but they're a well balanced team, and that's what I saw when I was watching them this past week. Is that Ingram's averaging 21, Scotty's averaging 19, almost 20. They're a balanced team, and they're on this 9-1, and the Maple Mamba's been injured as well too. So, they're a well-rounded, balanced team, and I think they may give Ev's Knicks some fits, man. So, speaking of the Knicks, man, let's get right to it. What y'all gonna do here, man? You think you guys got enough for Toronto here, man, for this
Yeah,
team?
because I want to hear about the matchups. I want to hear how you
Because
talk about these matchups, because these matchups are so good between Toronto and New York.
well, we know where who needs to show up for them to win, because there's one
Mm.
matchup that
Meow.
yeah,
I'm
I'm just saying
I'm
there's
sorry.
one matchup where
Per
you know
per.
I'm just saying.
This is where I just correct y'all.
Okay, go ahead, man. Put
Go
us in
We
ahead.
can
the
There we
talk.
go.
We could talk matchups. We could talk X's and O's.
Oh, here we go.
We
Go
could
ahead,
talk
man.
nuances.
Hey, yo, Christian, make
But
sure you
what it
put me.
comes down to, okay, is we have the best closer on the East Coast. We have maybe the best guard on the East Coast. And there's nothing Toronto can do about that. Okay? Jalen
Best
Brunson,
guard on the East Coast, F?
I said what I said.
It's
All
better
right.
than
What
Maxi.
position does Jason Tatum
All
play?
these flash in the pans that you want to name from the East
Maxi's a
Coast.
flash in the pan.
Listen, I respect Maxi, okay?
Tatum is not a
Donovan
guard.
Mitchell's a flash in the
Tatum
pan.
isn't a guard.
They made it hot lines, okay?
Is
But
Tatum a
Jalen's
guard or
making it a hot
no?
song. Do you
Oh, not
understand?
the Hove
All
bars,
right.
Oh my
man.
God,
Get
Prior
out of
man.
prior
here.
clutch player of the league. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a Jalen Brunson love fest, all right? But we got to put some
Already did.
respect on Jalen Brunson's name, all right? We still treat him like he's the potentially good guy that got traded or signed from the Dallas Mavericks. We're on a 4-year run of absolute excellence from this player, okay? He's not only a top 10 player in the league, probably top 8. Listen, I might fight with you on top 7. He's giving you right under 30 points a game. When it comes down to getting buckets in close games in the fourth quarter, there's not too many teams, especially not Toronto. Brandon Ingram, that's nice and all. He doesn't have what Jalen Brunson has from a clutch standpoint. Give me the ball, I go get buckets. And he does it day in and day out. All right. Night in and night out. And I respect it. Now, the only thing I'm worried about if I'm a Knicks fan is we make easy games very difficult. That is what we do.
This is an easy game, F.
Listen, man, we supposed to be the second best team in the West. All right, we shouldn't be worried about a team coming in with RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly. We traded them for a reason. But you know what? In the East, I'm sorry, in the East. But you know what? If RJ's healthy, he gonna debut. All right, I guess this is gonna be his best game of the season. Quickly is gonna try to drop 40 on us. I already know how that's gonna look. It's gonna be a tough game in the Garden. If it's in the Garden, let me think about that. Might be in Toronto.
Vegas. No,
No,
the finals in Vegas. I
Yeah, finals
apologize.
in Vegas.
It might be in Toronto.
'Cause
I,
they're the
I gotta
higher
look.
rank.
I gotta look at the dates. I apologize.
No,
And
that's
I
on me because
apologize
they're the
on
higher rank.
yeah, I apologize on my earlier misseeding. The Heat are third, Toronto's 2, the Knicks are 4th. So
right.
you're saying the higher seeded team here should be an easy game for you guys, and you should not stumble. But you are concerned that sometimes you guys play down to the level of your competitors, essentially, is what you're saying.
Yes,
And
that's what I'm
then
saying.
can get yourself into some trouble.
You got it. We did it
So
against Milwaukee last night. But we before pulling that game out. Yes.
yeah, I mean, yeah. here's my thing. That's all fine and dandy and all.
I
But
saw where this is going.
basketball is still a team sport.
Fact though.
And you're running into a team that is balanced, like we said it before, running like a well-oiled machine, and sometimes momentum and balance can outweigh talent, right? We're not disagreeing with you. You guys are the more talented team, right? Jalen Brunson, he's a top guard in the league. I'm giving you, I was giving you a hard time, but he's a top guard in the league, right? Talent on the Knicks side proportionately outweighs Toronto. But dare I say, Toronto may be playing better basketball. So I don't think it's as easy as a matchup as you're thinking, because it's a team sport. I feel like Toronto might give you fits, man. I feel like this may come down to essentially what you're saying, Brunson heroics. We'll see, though.
And if we have
Before
it
I do
there,
that,
that's
go
what
ahead.
we want to be. And if we have it there, where it's coming
And
down
you're willing to
Brunson
take your
heroic,
chances, right?
that's
You're willing to
exactly
take your
what we
With
chances.
one game, with one single game elimination, you can rest on that.
All right, guys. Before we move on to the West Coast of things, let's hear your predictions on this bracket. Ev, we already know who you're going with. Lou. But if you want to say it on air, Ev, you can say it. But I think we all
Let's formally
Yeah, put your formal bid in, Ev.
Shout out to what the
Okay, then
Raptors
we're
are
moving on.
doing.
No, I'm sorry.
Shout out to what the Raptors are doing, but this is the game. These are the games that the Knicks do to recalibrate their season accordingly.
Okay. Lou, who you got
Yeah.
real quick? You
Hey
got
man.
15
Hey,
seconds.
yo, I'm with Toronto. I like where their momentum is going. So
Okay. Um, I'm going Knicks on this. I'm going Knicks on this.
The extra half-second pause was, does he want to be nice to me or not?
No, no,
He had to balance him.
the extra half second is the big per gonna show up. But I think he'll show up for this game anyway. We'll see what happens when you
I
guys
think
get to the other round.
if they win, it's because their point guard has his heroics. He puts on
Got
his
it.
cape.
All right, guys, let's move on to the West Coast. So on the west side of the bracket, we have the Thunder versus the Suns, and then we have the Lakers versus the Spurs. Let's first start off with Thunder versus Suns. As we know, OKC is just bullying through the league right now. They are currently number one in the West with a record of 19. That's right, I said it. 19-1. 19-1, which hasn't been done since the Bulls, Jordan Bulls, since
Mhm.
Golden State and
Yep.
Cleveland, who did it last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So this is a historic start. People are already comparing them as saying that it's possible that they can beat the record of the 73, Golden State Warriors. I don't know. I could I I think it's still a little too early to give them that, but the way they're looking, I don't know. It may happen. And what's annoying and frustrating about it is like, as much as we want to freaking nitpick KC, we can't. We
This
can't.
this is
Like,
exactly what you were talking about before. We were just talking about the Toronto team. We were talking about a team that is poised and balanced. Like this is literally the example. The corners. This is exactly how you would, if you were to run tape for your team and say, this is how you be and play as a balanced and complete team in the NBA. They're now moving into the space of almost being boring, like the Spurs of old that we knew, because it's just in terms of how they just play basketball well,
yeah.
quietly, efficiently, and get to their spots and do everything that they play the game well. And then for Jay Will to just jump in after being injured and just be able to debut and then just fall right in line like he's been playing the entire season. That's also a testament in terms of how well, how poised, how balanced, and then how and what they've been doing with this brand of basketball, how they've been building it over the years for them to just be able to seamlessly execute. It's the team is just too good.
This team is definitely well. And I will say this, that there are moments where I watch them, I'm like, okay, this is the game, right? Because a player's having a bad game, or Shea or SGA, has a bad first quarter. But what I do love about this team is they rally around each other, and not just in the traditional sense, right? Like we see in the interview, they know and see like, hey, yo, he's having a bad game or a bad quarter. Let's push it somewhere else, right? The last game I was watching, Chet wasn't doing so well. Hartenstein steps in. Even Case and Wallace, like he'll step in, and it's interesting to see how, not only interesting, it's just great basketball to watch that they have each other's back like that. And I think that's one of the reasons they're not heavily dependent on SGA. They're really not. And as Lou said, J Dub just came in. This was his first game back from that was it a hand surgery? It was a surgery on his
Yeah.
wrist.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it
Yep.
was wrist. Oh yeah, I can't.
Then he got a screw put in.
Yeah, I think it was that, and he's doing well. So I don't know what else to say about OKC, guys.
What I'll say about them is, well, one, the best point differential through 20 games in a 20-game stretch in NBA history. And it's not particularly close. Their point differential between them and the second best team in the league is the same as between the second best team and the 19th best team in the league. So that part right there is crazy. What I like about what I mean, there's so much to like about OKC, but you talk about the breaking the 73 game record, all right, 73 wins that the Warriors broke. You talk about defending a championship. What I like about this team is that they're both young enough and deep enough that they can go for all of those goals without compromising themselves from a health standpoint, right? Let's
Wow, true.
remember they lost in the NBA Cup Finals last year to
Yes, sir.
Milwaukee, right? So there's ammunition to avenge that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know they want to defend from a title standpoint. And honestly, when you look up and you're 19-1, you're through 20 games. That's a fourth of the season already. You
Yeah.
can't help but think, hey, no, of course 73 wins is obtainable. We're already there. So the fact that they're this successful already from a game to game basis, and they have ammunition that gives them, they have enough that gives them the ammunition to go for all these checkpoints. And honestly, do something that literally has never been done in history, right? No one's ever won the NBA Cup, NBA championship as well,
Yeah.
They
right?
had the
So, I
best
mean,
season ever.
yeah, when you talk about motivation, they're a team that's young enough and able enough that I think they have enough motivation to give them the gas to carry them through all of this.
Yeah, but I think they also have a culture where it's one game at a time, which I think is also what's very important about this. They're not getting too far ahead of themselves. They're taking each game. You know how we talk about winning the games that you're supposed to win and making sure you execute where you're supposed to execute. They're doing exactly that, and you can see that in terms of just as an organization, they're like one game at a time. Let's go and let's handle our business. I keep rolling from there, and that's going to take them far.
100%. I was in the process of looking it up because they're going up against the Suns. They just played each other not too long ago, and that game was relatively close throughout.
But I was gonna say that. Shout out to Phoenix because
Cause,
Phoenix had to keep it close in order to make it into this round. I think
mhm.
had they lost, off a point differential, they would have been eliminated. So, shout out to Phoenix, kept it close versus the Thunder. Yep, they got to play them here again from an NBA Cup standpoint. But again, I, I know, and I see Lou shaking his head. I'm with him. I know we don't believe what's coming out of Phoenix right now, right? But for them to even be where they're at this
Lou
point
doesn't
in the
believe it.
season,
Lou doesn't believe
yeah,
it.
I know that's what I meant.
Brian, the
I'm
kid
talking
that's eating
I'm talking
popcorn.
strictly to
Okay.
Lou. I know
Yeah, I'm
Lou
about to say,
doesn't
find
believe
a little
it.
homie that's eating popcorn because that's the best thing out of Phoenix right now, man.
I
Go
just think
ahead,
it's a
Ev.
tremendous culture exercise. We saw this team for 2 years culturally look like a dumpster fire, and I think we unpacked what the real reason of it was. It was Bradley Beal, but 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 to see this team now
I'm here for
actually
this.
care, on a night to night basis, embrace full court pressing, just embrace hustle and identity. I like that. I want more good teams than bad teams in basketball. So having a team that's going to show up on a night to night basis, I rock with it.
I'm so the last game they played to get against each other, OKC won by 4 points, right? And it wasn't it was a tight game throughout. I watched that game. That game was tight. Actually, OKC was down for half of the game, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't take the lead until the third quarter, I think. So it was a tight contest all the way through. Phoenix, like Ev is saying, I think we should put more respect on their name. They're playing like they care. They're putting the ball in the hole. They're not known for their defense, but they're adequate, right? They're doing the basics, and yo, you can't knock them. I'm here for Phoenix doing well. I'm here for because it brings parity. It brings parity, right? It's a team we expected to be towards the end part of the conference seating. We didn't expect much out of them, and they're overachieving. So I'm here for that. Similar to what Toronto's doing in the East, right? Not as big as Toronto, but
Oh,
you get what I'm
so
saying? Not
you don't
playing as
actually
well.
have faith in them, is what you're saying.
I think I'm gonna be real with you. I know we're not at this portion of it yet, which I mean we can get there. There's not much more I think we need to pontificate about Phoenix, but I could see them getting one win. I could see them getting that one win.
But
It's
long
one
term, in the
win. You know what I'm
season,
saying?
no,
It's
that's what I'm saying.
one win.
That's what I'm saying. Long term in the season, you actually don't have real faith in them.
No, yo, to be real, like I could see them being a playing team, bro, and getting in and wreaking havoc and being a dark horse. I could see them getting in, being a play-in,
Wow.
man.
Wow.
Squeaking in
Well,
at
you,
8.
you say wow, but when I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I think when the 11th best team is what, like 6-7 wins
And
or
12.
whatnot,
Yeah,
right? And you've already banked up what, 13 wins already?
12 and 8.
Yeah, 12-8. Like you're what, 6 games up on the 11th place team now. You've put yourself in position a quarter through the season to take a spot that we assumed would belong to another
Nah,
team coming
I
into the
understand what you
season,
mean.
And so, no, do I think? I mean, well, we're gonna get to it. Do I think Phoenix is going to beat OKC in this knockout round? No. Do I think Phoenix is going to make noise in the playoffs? No. But to even get to that point, based on what
It's
you
a
gave away coming
it's
into
a,
this season,
a big
right? That's
That's some haters.
success.
so
That's
no, but you know what?
success.
Just to an overall point in terms of how you led into this entire segment, both East and West, right? About the NBA Cup. The fact that the NBA Cup, all of those games work towards your actual record, I think also plays into why it's well done the way it's done, right? Because you're forced to care, right? On multiple levels. A small market team, they may be able to get their small win, but also as a larger market team, you can't take this, you can't take, or as a reigning champion, right? You can't just take this time off. All of these games are important, and which then in turn makes the NBA Cup important. So just to that aspect, right? The level of competition that we're seeing, or rather the level of competitiveness, because what you're saying has, for instance, I have one game. All I have to do is just win this one game. You know what I mean? It's not a series. Let me do my best, even if this is just what it is I can get out of this. We get this win.
Before we predict, I just want what Lou just said was an excellent point. Forcing you to care about 5 of your first 20 games or 6 of your first 21 games, that could change the trajectory of a team season. I like, that's a great point.
So what I'm hearing is you're now thinking Phoenix is in the playoffs. Got it. All right.
Absolutely not.
Predictions, yeah. Predictions on this one so we can move on. Who you got? Phoenix, OKC. Lou has OKC.
Okay, we already know, man. Let's go.
Ev, who you got?
OKC.
Okay. I'm going with the upset.
Yeah, at some point we have to turn his mic off.
All
What
right.
they-
I'm going
What they
upset.
say? What they used to say back in the day? Bet money. Bet money.
Word.
I'm going with the upset on this, man. I was inspired by the game I saw.
Turn his mic off.
I that in itself, though, I respect that. Seeing their style of play inspired you to believe in them again from where they were last year and the year before.
Yeah,
Phoenix is a great city, great weather. They deserve good things, so I respect.
And you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna beat OKC, and then it's gonna set even more fire under OKC, and then they're gonna beat the record. They're gonna be the 74 and 18. See, you guys don't know. You're not thinking. You're not thinking.
the narrative. It's the narrative.
It's the narrative.
Okay,
All right, y'all.
I see what you mean.
Let's move on to the bracket. Let's put time for this matchup. We have the Spurs and the Lakers.
And then we're moving on. So yeah.
And let's just spend all our time talking about the Spurs and barely mention the Lakers here. Now I'm just joking. So You have the Spurs, who are currently fourth in the West, and the Lakers, who are number 2 behind OKC. Lakers are 14-4, 8-2 in their last 10. Spurs are 13-5, 7-3. Spurs side of things, Wemby's out. He's injured, but they're still trucking along. They're still winning. They're still being competitive, putting points and defending well as a team. Let's talk about the Spurs side of things real quick. With Wemby being gone, are you guys surprised they even made it here? Is this a shock? Anyone can.
Myself personally, I assume that without Wemby, this team would fall back to earth. We've seen a team with mostly the same players, albeit with a healthy De'Aaron Fox now, who's really
Yeah, someone
stepped up
say De'Aaron.
the past couple weeks. But when you have young players that have lost the way they've lost the last 2 years, it's encouraging to see that when their best player is out and by far their greatest advantage is out, that they still tap into the identity that's making them successful. It speaks to what just a little bit of winning, what a little bit of expectation, and what a little bit of success will do to fuel your belief system, right? As a player, and how slim the lines are between winning and losing. To go into a game last night against the Nuggets. That have been playing, playing very solidly the past couple of weeks. I think that everybody had favored to win because they didn't have, the Spurs didn't have Wemby. To go in there and win win semi convincingly,
Yeah.
right? Again, that just speaks volumes to what this added emphasis on the beginning of the season is doing to teams. And so the Spurs have something now that they can build on as they go through the rest of the season. We went back and forth coming in. Did we think they were a playoff or play-in team or whatnot? Them surviving this stretch without Wemby really, again, gives them some wins under their belt in a very crowded West. So I'm excited to see what they've done thus far. I think this is a tremendous matchup against LA, one of my favorite knockout round matchups.
Yeah, I was just like you, surprised that they continue to excel without Wemby. Even more surprised that they handled Denver like they did. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like they're legit. My my I guess concern is this a riding high kind of situation with De'Aaron Fox, right? And will like Ev said, will they eventually fall back down to earth, right? And what will that look like? But what gives me hope is the consistency of De'Aaron Fox, because he was up and down with them, and I think he's found his groove. And when I was watching that Denver game, I was like, you know what? I hate to say it, but sometimes you just need to get out that bad environment and be in a controlled, flourishing, and an environment that pours into you, and it can totally change your game and make you look like a new player. And I'm seeing a different side of Fox, and that's, to me, giving me hope. And I would say, I mean, they have so many good guards outside of the other guards playing well, in addition to that. But De'Aaron Fox, I think, holding that mantle, because like Ev said, right, you have these young kids who don't really necessarily know how to win, but they're still finding it. I think De'Aaron Fox, being a veteran and who's did a lot of losing in Sacktown, right? Like letting you guys know,
Wow,
I
wow,
mean,
wow,
let's call it what it
wow,
is,
wow,
man. Let's just call it what it is.
wow, wow.
Letting him know, like, nah, we got to right this ship and stay there. So I want to give him his flowers, essentially, is what I'm saying with De'Aaron Fox and what they're doing over there. I like the Spurs, man.
So yeah, and I was just verifying a couple stats in terms of like, yeah, I do think the veteran aspect of it plays a role. I will go to a different one, in terms of someone like Harrison Barnes, who has also won a chip and so on, and can also provide some veteran, some guidance on that. But to touch on what you were mentioning before, is the play of their guards, right? We've seen Vassell really tap back into like, all right, who we thought he could be, right, and not having to meet a primary guy. Yeah, and Fox being back healthy helps facilitate that. You know what I mean? Having their young guy with Julian Champagne. All right, but him also being able to step up and ball as well, right? So you're seeing that the Darian Fox is able to facilitate a young core of players who are very talented and able to step up in exactly now in their these guys are like in their third year right now, right? So this should be in motion right now in terms of being able to start. You're starting to see it click in terms of how they've been able to gel and whatever, and like that was mentioned before, in terms of the system, the team. So from top to bottom, in terms of how they've constructed the team, how they've been able to build their system, how they've been able to build their culture, we all know the alien is the guy, right? And when he's on the floor, he's automatically the game changer. But again, for what they've been able to build with all the other pieces on the table, they've put themselves to be in a position that long term, and we've seen another team do this, right? Casually put piece by piece by piece by piece together, and they won a championship last year. So let's see if they can do that as well.
Facts. Let's get to the other side of that bracket, guys, with the Los Angeles Lakers. They played against Dallas with AD coming back and Luka playing against his former team, and they handled it. The Lakers have been playing well. Luka is looking like a MVP candidate. Austin Reeves is about to get a big payday. um, well, yeah, they got to pay that man because he's putting up numbers. I wonder how much they can pay him too. We'll talk about that later. But he's going to get a bag. Lakers are looking real nice. As a Laker hater here, prominent number one fan club here, the leader of the Laker hater fan club, they're looking good, man. And LeBron just came back, and he didn't disrupt things like I thought. I I haven't now. Granted, I don't watch the Lakers as closely as say Christian or anybody else, but from the games that I've saw, he hasn't been too disruptive, right? Now I do see their between him and Luca, right? They're changing the guard of who's running the play, who's running the set, and everything like that. There is a little less Austin Reeves ball handling, right? Which we saw, but it looks like LeBron is taking a back seat and being okay. I want to throw this question to you, Ev. Did LeBron listen to our podcast and did he take your advice and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna be the best six man or like the best role player ever. You think he's taking that advice, man, or is he ramping up?
Add another credential to his jacket.
Yeah.
Man of the year.
So to answer your question directly, LeBron hears everything, so he 100% listened to our podcast.
Oh yeah, he has a favorite,
And
but
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're in his Apple and Spotify. Um,
and
he
YouTube.
also had no choice, you know, and
Mm,
I think that's what he walked into. And I've seen some of his post game interviews, and folks are always going to Zapruder film them, and he seems a little salty. He seems a little short when doing the interviews. They're interviewing him at his locker room when Luke is at the podium and whatnot. All that's going to be part of the deep dives in the over analysis of this relationship. But the facts are just the facts, right? Luca is playing. I mean, Luca's doing what Luca does, right? Does he look a little better than he's ever looked? It's hard to tell. He looks like Luca always looks. Is amazing. Austin Reeves averaging more than Anthony Edwards, averaging more than Devin Booker, right?
bro.
Averaging more than a who's who list of your great guards, and doing it consistently. He is a
Hmm.
definitive number two, not just a cute story right now.
No, nope. Put some
So
respect
when
on
you
his name.
right, so when you walk into that situation and you've been gone for a month and this is gelling and this is vibing, LeBron's no fool. He knows if I mess this up,
It's worse for me.
Right. It's worse for me. So let me get in. Let me be that super connector. Let me do, all the nuances. He knows how to fill the stat sheet just by being on the court, just by being one of, if not the most intelligent basketball player in the history of basketball. So just
Facts.
go do that. And you don't have to do all the other stuff because you've got two guys who not only are doing it individually excellently, but developing amazing chemistry with themselves and the team at the same time. So let me pause
100%.
out. Let me throw out one question to you while we're doing this. When you watch Austin Reeves play, it, it, it looks like he's pulling some stuff from Luca, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. They mirror each
Right,
other. They practice.
right,
It's like they
right,
practice together.
Yeah,
right.
That's baby Luca.
he's soaking it all in. I mean, so it's really dope because you're seeing how it's the development of a player that you may not necessarily see when you see LeBron is on the floor. LeBron does make his team look better, but in terms of who actually helps build them, in terms of how you help develop your teammate, and we're seeing that in real time with Luca. I mean, we may have said we even see it with a previous player that may be on the Knicks right now, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's great to see how he's helping to develop other guards.
No, like I'm gonna say this on air, and I hate that I'm going to say this on air, but the Lakers are looking scary. They're looking scary in the sense of I was watching Luca, man, and this guy was just giving buckets, hand in the face, two people, three people. It doesn't matter. Luca is looking crazy and looking scary. Not to mention, you couple that with a consistent Austin Reeves, who, like Ev said, is averaging more than your top guards, right? Is a top bucket getter right now. And then you want to add a LeBron James to that? Come on, man. But you know what I have hope in though, right? DeAndre Ayton. I have hope in DeAndre Ayton, who is going to be his best self and mess this all up. I am here for every bit of that. I'm here for every bit of that.
Hey yo, what's
That's
up
what
with
I'm
you,
here
bro?
for.
What's up with you,
So,
fam?
as scary as they look, I can't wait to see the car crash.
Nah, something wrong with you, yo.
I
Well,
Something wrong with
can't
you, man.
wait to see
two
it.
parts to that. Two parts to that. I respect him putting up 17 and 8 in the Anthony Davis reunion game, right? I expected Aiden to be a complete shell of himself last night.
He got
And
garbage
he
points,
looked
but
he looked he did, but he looked solid. Now at the same time, that
not against
block
AD.
that when
He got
AD
blocked.
met him at the rim with that
Yeah, he
block
got
when they
blocked,
needed
bro.
a clutch bucket at the end, my thought away from there was, boy, this team would look excellent with AD on it.
Dion.
Um, I did have that thought. I did have that thought. To that though, I'll say
Yo.
one more thing though.
AD would make this team formidable.
He would. AD would make this team scary.
You know what they need?
Well, they need it. They're AD away
They're
from
AD away from
true, yeah,
being able to beat OKC.
right from
Hey yo,
That's
you
wild.
joke, but that's literal. That's
No,
literal.
no.
That is literal.
son
They're
said if
a
you want to trade me back.
they're a
Bring my boy
Carl
back.
Anthony.
Bring my boy back. Let's bring him back.
Oh,
He looked sad last night. Let's bring him back.
um,
And then you know what? Then LeBron could quit out his passive aggressive. Let's really talk about it. The reason LeBron won't show his happiness with being with Luca is because they traded his boy. And
His boy.
he doesn't want AD to see him
no, he was part
enjoying
of that. He's the
having
reason
Luca
why
Doncic on his
he got
team,
traded.
man. Right.
Nah,
You
LeBron
can
has to
be
stay
happy,
quiet
man.
because
Enjoy
you know you were
yourself.
traded, you were part of the trade, so you can't enjoy this right now because yeah, you're an AD away from being great.
Listen, man. I'm just saying they really are. They really are. But yo, Austin Reeves got to get that money, man. They got to pay him. Per what's that? Bobby Marks. Thanks to the Pod Mama for reporting. 5 years, $246 million.
They call that the max in the streets. That's the
Yeah,
max.
that boy's about to get paid. All right, guys.
Austin Lamont
Predictions.
Reed.
We got to wrap up real quick. 1 second. Predictions. Who's gonna win? Lakers or Spurs? Lou.
Going with good old San Antonio.
Ev.
Lakers are coming back to avenge and reclaim their Gary. They want to restore themselves and get another banner, so they're going to beat the Spurs.
Okay, well, you already know Laker hater, so can never root for them. So go Spurs, go. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate it. As always, hit up us on our social media. Follow us, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Have a blessed week, guys. Peace.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, give us a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you can keep up with us every week. Be sure to follow us on all our socials at the 3on3 Podcast. Hey, got a question, topic you want us to talk about? Hit us up on our email at 3on3podcast@gmail.com. We appreciate y'all. Tune in next week.